Is this about Tag's murder? I've told you everything I know.
We need you to think back further, to last year, just before Harrison was killed, but after that party where you first met Tag.
Did you notice anything different about Harrison after that? Something to do with his attitude towards Tag?
If there's something you haven't told us, for whatever reason.
You must be talking about the attack.
What attack?
Somebody ambushed Tag, split his face wide open.
Does this fit with evidence? Yeah, for some reason. Miss Vanderhook confirmed that Tag's scar came from a result of a fight. Yeah, but I really wouldn't. I don't see that as like splitting his face open, which is why I said no before.
They never told us who did it, but the rumor was it was Harrison. I didn't know whether to believe it. I mean, I knew he was pissed at Tag for insulting me, but he wasn't the type to go postal like that.
They never
When
told
you
us.
say they never told you who attacked Tag, what do you mean? Who's they?
Mrs. Boersma and the secretaries. They heard the screams and ran out into the hall.
Wait, you're saying the fight happened at New Amsterdam?
No, it doesn't. Why not? Franklin said the fight happened on the street. Allison Privy said that the fight happened at the party. Headmistress said that she had no knowledge of conflict between Harrison and Tag. Mrs. Vanderhook said the fight happened during summer vacation. It's not that one. I'm going with this one.
If this is true, why didn't Mrs. Boersma say anything?
Beats me. I wasn't there. I'm just telling you what the other kids have told me. Supposedly, Mrs. Boersma hauled Harrison into her office, but it's not like he got expelled or anything. And then, a week after that, he was dead.
We're still gonna
Your
ask this
baby,
one.
Brandon.
What about him?
Have you ever had any doubts who the father is?
No! What are you saying? Why would you even ask that?
Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. We have to ask these questions.
I don't see what this has to do with anything.
Yeah, you didn't have to ask someone. I just felt like
Why
asking
did
it.
nobody tell us this when we were investigating Harrison's murder? If what you're saying is true, then Tag had a motive.
Tag was already gone when Harrison was killed.
Gone? Gone where?
His mom pulled him out of school and sent him off to California to recuperate. They say she was furious with New Amsterdam, swore that the Vanderhooks were done with it.
What did I say the last time? Does this fit with the timeline? No? Why not? Mrs. Vanderhook testified that Tag was in Europe last spring. Tag discovered Harrison's body. Mrs. Vanderhook made a major bequest to the school that summer. Yes. Tag's injuries happened earlier this spring, almost a year after Harrison was killed.
But then she turned around and donated a gym to the school that summer.
And Tag was back in the fall, like nothing was wrong.
Something's wrong with this picture. Thanks for being forthcoming, Allison.
Sorry I didn't say anything before. I guess I didn't want you to think bad about Harrison. He was a gentleman.
I'm sure he was.
Makes me question who the daddy is still.
Furious at New Amsterdam? Of course I was furious. My son was savagely beaten in their halls. His face had to be sewn back together.
And yet you made a huge bequest just 3 weeks later. It doesn't square up. Why the change of heart?
Tag convinced me to do it. Despite what had happened, he was devoted to the school. He told me it was the one place in all the world where he felt truly accepted.
That doesn't make sense. No. Headmistress confessed Tag never fit in. Mrs. Vanderhook said Tag and New Amsterdam were like oil and water. Allison and Tag wanted to transfer elsewhere. Tag smashed glass on trophy case to demonstrate contempt for school. Well, sorry.
You told the police that Tag and New Amsterdam were like oil and water.
Did I? How odd.
It's time you told us the truth, Mrs. Vanderhook.
You're good. I like you. Yes, if you must know, the bequest was extorted from me. My reputation is the basis of my fortune, Miss Carmichael. Unfortunately, that makes me uniquely vulnerable to scandal. Somebody saw an opening and seized it. I would have been more forthcoming if I thought this had anything to do with my son's murder.
But Tag did figure in this scheme, didn't he? We've seen the video.
You have? That's not exactly the sort of thing that makes a mother proud. But then making mother proud was never very high on Tag's to-do list.
Who blackmailed you? What did Tag know? Reaction to Tag's crime. I'll just go in order.
What we want to know is, who else knew about it? Who was extorting you?
But surely you've already guessed. Our beloved headmistress, Karen Boersma. Though how she got a hold of the video, I'll never know.
Who did Mrs. Boersma obtain the video from? Oh god, Harrison or Tag? I'm guessing Tag. Woo!
She hauled Harrison into her office right after the fight. She must have forced it out of him then. It would explain why she didn't expel him.
However she got it, she understood immediately what it could do to my reputation. The son of Trisha Vanderhook? Forcing himself on some inebriated little tramp? On camera yet? The press would fight to get their claws on the footage. The price was steep, but it wasn't too much to pay for a guarantee that the video wouldn't get out. So I paid up, and that was the end of it.
I am doing horrible again.
Did Tag know you were being blackmailed on account of him?
No. As far as he knew, there were only 2 people in the world who knew about his little excursion into filmmaking, and one of them was dead.
Is this true? No. Note on the video said everyone else has seen it. Why am I doing so bad all of a sudden?
Tag bragged to Franklin Bedford that the video was a box office hit.
Did he? How tacky.
He knew somebody was making money off it.
Yes, I suppose I did let the secret slip out.
Reaction to Tag's crime, guarantee. When did he learn?
It must have been a nasty shock seeing Tag's video.
What sort of reaction are you attempting to provoke here, counselor? Outrage? Tears? Bitter recriminations against my dead child? Sorry to disappoint you. My feelings are my own business.
Red herrings all around, and my god, this mom is harsh. Guaranteed.
Mrs. Boersma guaranteed that the video wouldn't get out? How could you be confident she wouldn't turn around and extort more money out of you next year?
I made sure she couldn't do that. In exchange for my generous donation, she gave me an insurance packet.
Meaning?
A handwritten statement of what she'd done, signed and dated. If the video gets out, so does her confession. Mutually assured destruction. Always good for keeping hostile superpowers quiet.
Do you still have this statement?
Yes, and I intend to hold on to it, unless you can prove this has something to do with Tag's murder.
When did you tell Tag about your arrangement with Mrs. Boersma?
April Fool's Day.
Oh. Yes? Tag mentioned an April Fool's Day surprise to Franklin. Mrs. Vanderhook already confessed to a big fight with Tag on that day.
He'd gone and wrecked his Maserati again, and he was expecting, no, demanding I should get it fixed for him. For once I put my foot down. Well, he flew into a childish rage, called me a cheapskate, started screaming about how I never did anything for him. So I let him know exactly what his shenanigans had cost me. It shut him up.
For someone who already has 2 strikes, I have been riding the high life since.
Tag made a comment about the video, that he was planning to get his share of the box office. Do you have any idea what he meant by that?
A few days before he died, Tag informed me that he no longer needed my money. He said he'd found another way to pay for the Maserati.
Did he say what that was?
I asked, but all he would say was, "A good example is the best sermon."
Have we encountered this saying before? Yes. where framed quote and yep. Framed quote and yes.
Extortion seems to be going around this season.
Tag and
I
murderer.
think we found your son's murderer.
Franklin Bedford.
Was framed.
Is this true? Yes. Barely managed to pass this one. Who had the means, motive, and opportunity to do tag in? Allison, Mrs. Bedford, Mrs. Burisma, Mr. Vance. Mr. Bedford. What? It was either Mr. Bedford or Allison. Oh god. Okay, we're back. As you can see, I did better this time. Yay! Who had the means, motive, and opportunity to do tag in? Wasn't Mr. Bedford, even though I really feel like he could have done it. Mrs. Burisma? Not Mr. Vance. I feel like they want me to select Allison, but I feel like she didn't do it. Okay, awesome.
By Mrs. Boersma. She put that metal in his mouth, and she planted the gun in his
Oh,
locker.
duh, yeah, makes sense for
Why?
that.
Little matter between her and me was resolved to our mutual satisfaction.
But not to Tag's satisfaction. He saw how his headmistress had profited off his video, and he figured turnabout was fair play. After all, you're not the only one who can be severely damaged by a scandal. Probably never realized how far she might go to avoid one.
Tag, extort Karen Boersma? He might be reckless enough to try it, I'll grant you, but it would have been his word against hers. He had nothing to hold against her unless... Excuse me a minute, would you?
Well then,
The
I wonder.
insurance policy is gone. Karen Boersma's signed confession. It's missing from the safe.
Did you make a copy of it?
No. He's the only one who could have taken it. But could he really be reckless enough to... Look who I'm talking about. Of course he could.
We can bring her to justice without it, if you'll agree to testify.
No, absolutely not. As I've explained to you, I can't afford scandal.
But what about Tag?
If trashing my reputation could bring him back, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But it wouldn't. Tag's dead, but the Vanderhook name still lives. Its power is based on perception.
Mine is based on truth, and if you won't help me expose the truth about who killed Tag, I'll find someone who can.
Just make her do it somehow. Duh. At least we did it right this time. God, I'm doing horrible.